The second part of the lesson today is showing you how to graph either circles or lines and how to recognize whether or not it's going to be a circle or a line. So here, if we just have r equals some number, well, that's just saying the radius is equal to a certain value. And if it's a radius equal to a certain value, that means every single point is 3 units away from the pole. So therefore, it has to be a circle with a radius of 3. If we give you an angle measure that's equal to a certain value, so in this case it's pi over 4, we're going to find pi over 4, which is halfway between 0 and pi over 2, and then we are going to do a line. So every single angle that we rotate through has to be pi over 4 units. Okay, why is it going this direction also? Well, because if we went a negative radius, we would be rotating pi over 4 units down this way. So you end up getting a line like this. So what I want you to do is pause and fill out these charts right here. Mine are already filled out, so I don't want you to see them. So fill out the charts, try to graph the picture over here on the right-hand side, and then when you are finished, unpause and check and see if you're correct. So you can check your chart here. Did you get undefined, 4, 2.309, 2, etc. So go through, and when you graphed those, you should have gotten basically a straight line, a horizontal line. Okay, now logically, if we have r sine theta equals 2, well, at the beginning of the lesson, we learned that r sine theta is the same as what? Well, it's the same as y. So we just could have simply put in here that y equals 2. And if we replace this with y, and it's y equals 2, then that is just a horizontal line going through 2 units away from the pole. So we go up 1, 2, and we know it's going to be a straight line across here. So again, r sine theta is the same as y. So if here we said to graph r sine theta equals negative 3, well, that's just saying to graph y equals negative 3. That's a horizontal line. So therefore, it should just be going through negative 3. We would go down 1, 2, 3 if we look at this graph up here, and we would draw a horizontal line this way. Okay, what if we change it? Instead of sine here, we have cosine. Well, you should now kind of know, oh, if r sine theta is equal to y, and we can replace it with y, then r cosine theta can be replaced with x. So we get a vertical line this time, going through 1 on the x-axis. So you don't really need to do that chart. It's just a matter of recognizing what you can replace with your rectangular coordinate here. So r cosine theta is the same as x equals 1. It's a vertical line. Here, if r cosine theta equals negative 4, well, that would simply be a vertical line through negative 4. It'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, and the vertical line would be going over here on the left-hand side of the graph. Okay, oops, sorry, moving on. If you want to try first, number 5, go ahead and do that. Try to fill out the chart, see what's going to happen, and then we'll talk about the results. Or you can come back and check it and then see if you can notice the pattern. Maybe do the next ones on your own. So if you went ahead and completed this and plugged these in and got decimal answers so you could see what your r is, well, if you have r equals 4 sine theta, this 4 is associated with what? Your circle should have been up here. Notice what the 4 is associated with. And hopefully you see here that it's the diameter of this circle. It's 4 units wide. So the 4 is associated with the diameter of the circle. The sine is associated with the y value. So notice it goes up. Because the 4 was positive, you go up 4 units, and this is where you have your circle going from 0 to positive 4 units. And then you create your circle. Here, if this was a negative 4 in front of the sign, you would go down 4 units, still have a diameter of 4, but your circle would be down in the lower part. So here, use your calculator to confirm the graph, then on your calculator graph these, so you can practice that if you want to, although you won't get to use your calculator when you're graphing these. So what conclusions can you make? You can make that r sine theta is equal to a. So what does a represent? Or, sorry, so what conclusions can you make about this? What do you think? So you write some things down. What does that r represent? Here, r equals 4 cosine theta. I really wanted to talk about the positive and negative. If r equals negative 3 cosine theta versus positive, well, I kind of talked about it up there. Cosine is associated with your x value, so we're going to go right or left. Well, if it's positive, it's going to be on the right-hand side, and the diameter, this number still represents the diameter, but it's the diameter on the x-axis. Here, if this is a negative 3, you're going to have a diameter of 3 units, but you're going to go on the left-hand side, so that circle would be over here. So practice, see what you think about the homework, and then bring it into me, and I'll see you next Tuesday, and we'll go over any questions you might have, and then we'll move on to graphing more polar functions. Have a good weekend. Sorry, one more thing. I forgot to show you this summary here at the end, if you just want to do a little summary. So it says you should now be able to graph these 6 basic polar equations without using your calculator. So if r equals a, remember that's just a circle with the radius of whatever a is, and you draw that with the radius. If it's theta equals a, that's just going to be a line going through 2 axes, whether it's first and third or second and fourth, and you're going to rotate through whatever that angle measure is. If it's r sine theta equals a, we did that next. That was a horizontal line because it's, in other words, it's y equals a. If it's r cosine theta equals a, it gives you a vertical line because, in other words, it's x equals a. And a here, they're showing you the distance from the pole. If it's r equals a sine theta, it's a circle with a diameter of a units. And again, sine is associated with y, so it's going to be up in the upper positive section or down here in the negative section if it's a negative a. And then, of course, if r equals cosine a cosine theta, you have a radius, or a diameter of a units. If it's positive, you go to the right-hand side because it's associated with x, or you go to the left-hand side if it's negative. So there you have it. Again, see you later. See you on Tuesday.